Conventional wisdom to me is broken. This is the thing that to me is so important. You know, we're all living off of boxed foods that's full of corn and wheat and sugar, and everyone is overweight. Everyone's eating low fat and they're still sick and obese. And so we're just kind of working to shift the paradigm, and anyone who takes on paleo really sees an instant response in terms of their energy or the way they feel. I had a ton of problems before I went paleo. I had chronic gastrointestinal issues, and I saw gastroenterologists for several years, and no one ever told me it could be related to food. I had chronic adult acne. I had numbness in my feet and in my limbs. I was always cold. Chronic migraines, that was a huge one. And really, in addition to that, terrible ups and downs in terms of my mood swings and my mood stabilization, and I was always lethargic. The paleo lifestyle for me is pretty much a focus on consuming only meat, fish, fruits, vegetables, and fat. Now, also within those parameters, I do eat some nuts and seeds, some occasional safe starches like white rice or white potatoes, but there's a very different consciousness about the sourcing of your food, where it comes from, how it's prepared, the oils that it's prepared in, just kind of your relationship to being able to prepare those things yourself in your own kitchen. Basically, I grew up in Olympia, Washington. I lived there until I was 17. Then I went to Syracuse University and got my bachelor's degree in musical theater and in fine arts. Kind of towards the end of my education, I got very, very involved in a personal yoga practice. So I went from school to kind of living like a monk and giving away all my belongings. And I spent a bunch of time in India and living in different yoga ashrams. So spent about 3 years teaching yoga full time, and that's when I kind of built this connection with food. At the time, everything that I was learning was all based in vegetarian food principles. So the diet that we practiced was considered sattvic, which is pretty much purity, nothing fried, everything very lightly cooked, preferably raw, no onions, no garlic, no meat, no fowl, no eggs. So very strict vegetarian diet, kind of with the intention of making meditation easier, right? Keeps your vrittis or your thought waves stabilized. So I spent about 3 years eating vegetarian, and I developed all sorts of health problems. And that's kind of where I started to do some introspection related to food and found my way eventually to paleo. My connection to paleo is about getting outside. You know, for me, I really have never related well to exercise like in a gym setting. I never really have responded well to like pushing my body to the physical limits just to get physical results. But I enjoy going out into nature and moving my body and going on hikes and interacting with water and trees and wind. And, you know, that to me, I think is very kind of primal and instinctual and something that we're kind of detached from.